Welcome to Green Giants, Titans of Renewable Energy, a podcast where insights and innovation meet. Every episode, we dive into conversations with industry leaders, experts, and change makers, bringing you the stories and ideas in the renewable energy sector that shape our world. And now, let's jump into today's episode with your host, Wes Ashworth. Welcome to the inaugural episode of Green Giants, Titans of Renewable Energy. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce our distinguished guest, Jing Tian, currently serving as Chief Growth Officer at Tigo Energy. Jing's remarkable journey in the renewable energy sector is marked by a series of leadership roles where she has consistently tackled big projects, made impactful decisions, and has thrived in complex environments. Jing has had an impressive career, key positions at notable companies such as Jinlong Technologies, Shift Energy, and Trina Solar, where she was president for the North America region. Jing's experience is not just impressive in its breadth, but also in its depth. Her specialties include solar energy, renewable energy, organizational design, product marketing, and product management, among others. Jing holds a PhD in chemistry from Drexel University, and her academic background has been a significant asset, enhancing her role in marketing and strategic development in the tech-heavy renewable energy industry. Endorsed by colleagues as one of the brightest and most comprehensive strategic thinkers, Jing is known for her analytical thinking, process-driven approach, and imaginative solutions. Today, Jing joins us to share her insights on the renewable energy sector, her experiences in driving growth and innovation, and her vision for the future of renewable energy. Jing, it's an absolute honor to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Wes. It's really great to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. So let's dive right in. I always love a good origin story. So what first inspired you to enter the renewable energy sector?
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. As you mentioned, I have a PhD in chemistry from Drexel University. And during that PhD studies, I was really focused on the organic conductive polymer materials. And that ties into, optoelectrical property, semiconductor materials aspects. So that's where I first get exposed into materials with the, photovoltaics property. And then later I work on the organic LEDs, batteries. So solar is very natural for me to understand the materials properties. Always curious in that field. In about 2007, and that's where a lot of new startup companies enter into this renewable space. And my very first company experience that was with SoFocus. We're working on the triple junction cells to make concentrated photovoltaics. So that was my very first industrial experience to make the PV scalable.
Excellent. And what has been your most significant driving force throughout your career in this industry now?
I would say mostly it's really, I'm always curious about the technology innovation. And also, trying to push the boundaries. So throughout my career, it's really, I connected all the dots is about the curiosity to learn and the not too afraid to push the boundaries to see the growth. That's sort of connect all the dots with all various different companies. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this industry is such a dynamic industry that's growing and changing very rapidly. How do you approach leadership and decision-making in an industry as dynamic as this one?
I like to think about the key being a leader. It's not the say have a lot of followers. It's to create the new leaders. So it's really through the systematic approach to be open-minded and work with the people to have a various different inputs. That's number one. Then secondly is it's really important to stay curious, be open-minded. And I think the third one is fail fast. Don't be afraid to fail. So it's such a dynamic industry. There's so many new things coming up. We're not guaranteed to be right at the time we make a decision. So best inform the decision at the moment. But don't be afraid to fail, but fail fast and then come back to correct and then get on the right path. Yeah.
Yeah, failing fast and failing forward, I think is something so important. Is that something you naturally just had, or has that been developed along the way and you've had to embrace that?
I think it's a developer along the way. I mean, for all
Yeah.
of us, we all have a tendency to be afraid. It's like I would say when I was much younger myself, I was sort of like a professionalism, and it's
Right.
very difficult. Everything has to be perfect.
Hmm.
But then you had to kind of really recognize your own strength and also weakness and the tendency to overcome that and say it's okay to fail, right? So the
Yeah,
key is to learning from it. So yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
And kind of going off of that, you mentioned curiosity and the failure, those kinds of things too. Can you walk us through a pivotal strategic decision you made and its impact on your organization?
Yeah, there are many. So, I think being in the industry is before Tigo various
Yeah.
different industries. So I can obviously the latest experience is always the newest one. So um, I can share some of the experience we have at Tigo. So Tigo is a company. We provide a module level power electronics. So we have been in the industry for a long time, and obviously is viewed as the leaders to provide a MLPE solution. Um, we deployed a lot of products in the field. So then we started getting some phone calls from customer about some system level failures with some concern. But when we're going back, we always say, what happened? It's not a device fault, so we're good. But then we say, well, actually, there's a system installation. What is the best practice? How people do it? How they install the system? Then you could point a finger, say, we're clear, it's not us. But on the other hand, they say, well, we see that issue in the with the installers to push the industry, move industry forward. It's
Yeah.
important for us to really take our responsibility to educate the entire industry to help installers doing things better. So so that's what we launched the entire programs to really working on we call the green glove services. The goal is to help our installers to understand how to install the product, but it's really take a system approach, right? So that
Yeah.
what I see is you learn, then you correct, and take our ownership. I mean, ultimately to serve our customer and to serve the industry. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned one there, and I think that's the main one. But are there any other sort of complex problems that Tigo is solving in the renewable energy space that you'd like to talk about?
I mean, we have gone through, company has gone through a lot of evolutions, right? We
Hmm.
started with the MLP. We have the very like a modular level monitoring. So as we started going to providing storage solution as well as the software on the grid consumption and the predictions. So it's ever evolution and also evolving for us. I think that is pretty exciting for us to going through and the learning each step along the way. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then kind of like just around overall trends in renewable energy, what are you most excited about and why? And we'll start there.
Um, I think there's no one particular technology I would say, oh yeah, it's that one or
Hmm.
the other one. But I tend to look at the bigger picture. Because with the renewable energy, I think it will become more distributed. So I think
Okay.
the everyone's going to be virtual power plants in the
Hmm.
sense, right?
Hmm.
So how is the transmission and the grid system is going to look like? And we'll say it's going to be a distributed grid. I agree. But then what is it look like? How we're going to continue to support for everyone with equal access to the renewable energy. So to me, that is still a lot of open-ended questions. How it's evolving takes all of us to work together collaboratively or also imaginatively. And
Yeah.
second is scalability. In order to have a renewable energy, it's really being um, being the energy source. I think right now we only touched the tip of the iceberg. I think that
Absolutely.
there's like how do we scale this and going be most affordable energy resources, right? Um,
Definitely.
yeah.
And then within your organization, a lot of this is going to drive and creating a culture of innovation and creativity and folks that are bringing, ideas and solutions to the table. And as you said, sort of fail fast, those kinds of things. How do you foster that culture within your own organization?
I always encourage people asking why. Always asking why. So I
Yeah.
think that is coming from. I think I always have philosophy of when you do a job, a work, you have to coming from your heart and
Yeah.
say, "I love what I do." When you
Hmm.
love what you do, and it's very naturally any tasks you're gonna ask why. It's not
Hmm.
just being busy, and
Yeah.
I think someone once told me, say, you should take the word being busy out of your vocabulary. Is
Sure.
as you think, how was your day? You say, well, the day was challenging. The day
Hmm.
was fulfilling. The
Hmm.
day was, though, you can't feeling the thoughts, but just think about it, say, being busy is just very generic. You didn't even think about how you spend your day. So,
Yeah.
so that's really important to always ask why, right? Because
Yeah. I love that.
yeah, yeah, and that you can promoting thinking more in-depth questions, like
Sure.
and understand, and then can come up with a better creative solutions. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious now on your why. When it was time to join Tigo Energy, what was your why? Why did you take that step and what led you there?
Yeah, so it goes back a little bit history. So when I was at the TreeNet Solar, I have worked with collaborated with the Tigo Energy, and when we
Okay.
first launched a product called TreeNet Smart, is integrate module level power electronics into the module. That's where I first gets exposed to the company, knowing all the people. So we have stayed in touch. I kind of watching Tiger how it evolves. So later, as I'm moving around with the different with the different companies, and so I stayed in touch. I thought that Tiger was ready for to make the next transition. It's just the right time, right
Yeah.
place,
Yeah.
and so it was pretty exciting to be part of a team to help really bring the Tiger into the next phase. So that's our current trajectory. So that's very exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
And can you share another, personal experience that just something that profoundly influenced your own professional path?
Um, yeah, because I was telling people as you get into going back to say wherever you do, got to come out of here in the heart.
Yeah.
It's like what you
Absolutely.
love about what you do, and design your own career path. Don't let
Okay.
the job design your path, right?
Hmm.
So, but on each job, sometimes it may not. So each job, just ask, thinking about what you learn and what skill you want. So
Yeah.
it's kind of very interesting. When at one point I was with the Nano Solar, we were really, in the sense, it's a very front end of technology. We were doing the
Sure.
printing, SIG. We were, doing the very first glass modules. I mean, these are the uh, now it's like you see glass on glass bifacial module, a lot of it. But one of the challenges is how do you make laminate the two pieces of glasses like perfectly, and so I um, was asked to see if I want to do vendor development,
Okay.
which in my primary mind, I always doing technology inside out and on the marketing and going onto the supply chain in the sense, I was like, oh, well, that's not what I want.
Hmm.
Um, but then I look at us and like, well, this is actually very exciting. If you think about design your own career, is by
Sure.
doing so, you have a chance to work with partners. So that is an important skill to have. Uh, and along the way, so I visited China, every single glass manufacturer, and
Sure.
define the spec because we did not know what what actually is the right spec, right?
Yeah.
So that's truly a partnership work together. Uh, um, and then you have to understand the reading lots of supply contracts.
Hmm.
I was jokingly say I never really liked the legal contract until I started work on that job. I
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
learned how to do it. And then you start from the supply chain side, and later on you start to kind of work on the sales side because it's all the same. Um,
Right.
but what I say is a lot of what you pick the skills to say this is what serve you later on in a lot of other things you do, right? So yeah,
Hmm. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. No,
yeah,
I love that thought.
yeah.
Um, and then transition a little bit. So thinking about renewable energy as a whole, where it's going, the trajectory, where do you see this sector of renewable energy heading in the next decade?
Mm. I would say, again, as I mentioned earlier, you're asking about, is there any technology specifically very exciting? I say no, because it's about a scalability.
Yeah.
So I think if I can imagine, it's all, it's obviously it's going to be a very low cost energy that is serves enabling equitable energy for all the people with access to that. But then you think about it, energy is ties into transportation. How is the transportation will be impacted with this transformation, and the ultimately how people will live, right? So the urbanization, like how is the suburban urban transportation be efficiency? I think our relationship to the nature, I think we really had to rethink about our relationship to our
Yeah.
surrounding and to have a sustainable living. I think it's all of this. It will impact. I think it's what I call the system solution approach, and every piece that we're doing will impact. It's going to be very difficult for me try to imagine how it will be. Just I think it's like really the efficiency how we really work with the nature. I think we will definitely develop a different relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Are there any other things that you think, things that are kind of getting in the way, slowing down progress now, or any other just key changes that you think need to happen for this renewable energy sector to just become more predominant?
I think it's the investment, right? It's
Okay.
still require a lot of heavy investment. I think a lot of technologies are getting to mature. I'm sure there will be new technology, but if you think about it, it's a battery. How do we scale the battery for getting more into EV charger, EV cars, right? And the
Yeah.
solar. So how do we fast deploy solar? And the wind's already at a very low cost. And the storage to me is critical for wind solar storage. Then not to forget this hydrogen. I think it's also going to play a pretty important role.
Yeah.
Um, so all those in combination, and then goes back into how is the grid? What is the grid infrastructure is going to be like?
Sure.
Um, to combining all those renewable resources to make best use of it and they optimize the usage. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've already mentioned probably a couple, but anything else in terms of, I guess, if you were to predict one major change over the next, 5, 10 years in renewable energy, what would it be?
I think it would be have a more storage to come on board. I think solar
Yeah.
obviously will continue pushing the efficiency. Solar PV panel continue to push the efficiency. Wind, as I mentioned, some of the wind is getting pretty efficient. Then it's really a storage. I mean, right now we mostly we have a battery as a storage, but I know there's
Right.
quite a few new technology in the development and the long duration storage. And and the lower cost, I think scalable. I think that would be enabling the pretty big deployment of the renewable. Yeah.
Absolutely. Transition a little bit too. So, just reflecting on your whole career, all that you've done and accomplished, which has been great and phenomenal. What are you most proud of and why?
I think it's really I enjoy go take on new challenges. Like
Yeah.
so, I'm really proud of it. Is is I come to where I am today because and mostly I think it's a different stage, right? When I was younger, it's more of like where I am, where do I go? Now
Yeah,
I'm looking back, I'm most excited about it is I nurtured some of younger people, and now they are the leader in the industry. Because I
sure.
remember when I first started in 2007 as so focused at one of my mentor mentioned, they say, you guys here, it's all in 4 years, you are going to be a leader in the industry. Um, it kind of had an impact on me because that's what we giving back. It's how do
Yeah.
we really make industry is you learn from your mentor that you pass on to
Hmm.
nurturing new generation. Uh, I had a reflection most recently at the Plus in Las Vegas. It's always a fun to see lots of colleagues in the industry. But I walk around, I go, I used to know a lot of people. I walk around, I say half of people I don't know. But actually,
Yeah,
it's very exciting because you can see
sure.
more people entering the industry, and we need more people, more bright minds to work in this field, and so it's very
Absolutely.
exciting. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something I get to see on the talent front every day. What would you say to those that are contemplating a career in the industry, that are deciding on, because you see a lot of industry switchers, people coming from adjacent industries entering the industry. What would you say to encourage those that are maybe giving that a thought and thinking about coming over to the renewable energy industry?
Uh, this is a big industry. It's a future, right? So
Yeah.
it's not just, and also as we learn, expanded. Like I think I remember early days, and you go, oh, you work in the solar, then naturally you think about it, it's a PV module.
Hmm.
Uh, Now it's like, no, it's actually, this is entire industry. So it's not just a PV. So like a PV module, we have a tracker, we have a, um, we have storage batteries, and then expanding into Jason's transportation. And now you go into the grid design. So it's a lot of people. One day had a conversation with a young person. I said, well, yeah, computer science, AI, we use a lot of it in the renewable. So
Absolutely.
they go, wow, really? I was like,
Hmm.
yes. And so you can see all the talents can come in to work on this. And like even you think about it's urban design. So like, how do
Hmm.
we design
Yeah.
our life, and with the like energy efficiency in mind? Then you start to come with the decarbonization, CO2 capture, methane. So I just think this overall as like expanded, much bigger industry. I think it touches every corners of our life. Come enjoy the industry. So I think we all make a difference. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then anything else in terms of just bigger picture thinking, just how you envision the role of renewable energy in shaping our world's future, our nation's future. Um, Anything else in terms of your vision, what you see?
Um, yeah, I think we talked quite a bit. I mean, I think it's for me, it's really, I think, I sometimes get into the younger generation, talking to them, trying to figure out, because we sometimes had to fixate it. You
Yeah,
have a single, pick a fence, a house, living in suburb. But the younger ones, sometimes they challenging that status quo, right? So it's like why we have it. It's like when we think about urban, um, you know, like densifications, like how do we get people live, like what kind of life styles we're going to have. And and I think as we moving towards a future, as I would say, it's not about producing, like being a new renewable energy.
yeah,
Obviously it's being it's really about a decarbonization. Like, what do we do
sure.
to reduce the pollution, the slow down the climate change? So I think to me that is it's a way to impact our living, and
Mhm.
how do we really have the different relationship with the nature. So I think
Yeah.
that's the way I see it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What would you maybe share or say to non-believers out there, those that are skeptical or hesitant to this change and the importance of that overall impact to our environment and our and nature as a whole and our globe? anything that you would share in terms of just from your insights, your perspective?
Yeah, man, I think we should go out just look at it. Climate change is real. It's impact our daily life, and
Yeah,
which for people didn't want to see it, I just sometimes I just don't know what to say. Like I'm living
yeah,
in California. It's like we have an
sure.
unprecedented drought for multiple years. Like you can say that is not a climate change, and it's just every day. Like we see things,
Mhm.
and you can go to other parts of the world. The flood, the extreme weather. So those are real. And
Yeah.
yeah. Mm.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's undeniable, and you see it on a daily basis, and we
Yeah.
all have to play our part. Um,
Yeah.
Kind of going back, as you first started in the industry, knowing what you know now and the success you've had, what advice would you potentially give to your younger self if you could go back in time and talk to yourself?
I would say fundamentals, like a really network. Just being going out there. So I mean, be surprised at how many people are willing to, provide a free advice and or
Yeah,
opinions. I think it's okay just to get out there. So yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I say
yeah,
often, somebody gave me the advice early on in my career was the world belongs to askers. And
mm-hmm,
sometimes you just have to ask, if you don't know something or you need help or advice,
mm-hmm,
or a mentor, you just have to ask the question. So I agree
yeah,
with that completely.
yeah,
Well, excellent. I greatly, greatly appreciate your time. I think we were able to really get some valuable insights and hearing your perspective and your trajectory throughout your career and some of the things that you're seeing in terms of the future as well too, and understanding where the industry is going. So thank you so much for coming on the show, being my first guest as well. You're such a delightful person with great insights. So very grateful for that. Thank you in advance to the audience out there listening. There's new episodes coming soon, and remember to subscribe, rate, review, and if you enjoy this conversation, which I'm sure you did, share it with a colleague. Don't forget to follow us on our social channels, and stay tuned.